Hello and welcome. We're the Aussie guys, and I'm AJ. Here with me is G, and I've just kicked our guest out of the room for a minute.
You could have done that before everybody's seen him. He's gone and spoiled the surprise.
Spoiled the surprise. But I hear his milkshakes are the best in the yard. So let's bring him in, Kyle. Yeah,
that's some type of introduction. I don't know if that's ever been matched, but what up, boys? Good hanging out with you.
Man, thanks for coming on, doing it late notice too. And I got the days wrong. I got the time right, which is one better than what AJ does. But then I screwed up the day. I got a message on our just our, I don't know, WhatsApp or Twitter feed that we have a private little group. And Andy said to me, he goes, Kyle just put this link, answered me. I don't know, you must have been talking to him. I have no idea, Kyle. Yeah. Whatever. And I said, no, mate. No, you've got the time's good, mate. Daylight saving's all good. That's Eastern Standard Time. He's Central. And he goes, no, dickhead, the day.
Yeah, he posted in the Warzone Patreon chat. He's like, hey, if you guys are looking for something to do, Aussie guys are going to be live tomorrow morning, Friday morning, and Kyle's going to be on there. And I'm like, well, G just told me Saturday. So I'm like, what day am I getting my ass up to hang out with these guys? So, but
sorry,
and then I get a he's like, well, you might want to double check.
The time zones are all together. Very confusing. And it's good. I'm reassured for once that G got it wrong because it's usually me.
I got the time right, mate. Usually, I'll give you credit. We have never been late for a guest. We're always early. So I get round to your joint at with 10 minutes to spare, sometimes 5. Get all my papers in order. So I just throw them on the ground pretty much. And then we sit round for the next hour waiting. And I have to deal with you for an extra hour than I really want to.
I know. And and usually it's that embarrassing moment when we're 5 minutes over time and our guest hasn't arrived, when I look at my watch and I look at my phone and go, oh, gee.
And how many times do you think you've done it?
Oh, I couldn't count it on 2 hands.
Mate, seriously, you couldn't. You couldn't.
I mean, I've done that, and I'm only at worst, maybe 2 hours off with somebody. So that's happened to me before. Not that many times, but that's happened to me before. But on my phone, I have the world clock, and I only have 2 things on here, and it's Chicago and Melbourne. That's it. Because I always got to know when all my buddies from down under are, not asleep. But
because I chat with Memphis from Dynasty Warzone. I was actually rang me today. He's on the same time as you, correct?
He is.
Or are they different? Because the 2 that I have Chicago time and I have Indianapolis time. Are they the same?
Central, aren't you?
He's East Coast. I'm pretty sure. I'm like
he's East Coast time.
I'm like 95% sure. He's pretty close to Indy. But Indiana is like weird. Like that state, half the state is in Eastern time zone and half the state's in Central time zone. Really? And it's not straight. So like depending on like where if you're driving through it, it could be, 7 a.m. at one spot. And then like next exit, it's like, oh, you're an hour ahead. And then you drive another exit. And it's like back. So
if you drove a straight line north-south, you could constantly go through the time zone and keep changing all the time.
Yep. Yeah, it's stupid. I don't know. And then like it's weird too because my buddy and I drove to Tennessee this spring, and like we were like in Tennessee.
You left the house?
What?
You left the house?
I left the house. I did. I didn't leave the country though. That's not what I do. I was gone for like 5 days. G.
Oh, get it? Bullshit! I don't believe you.
I had to leave breadcrumbs just so I could make it back because I was like, shit, how am I gonna make it back here? But yeah, it's the time zone thing is freaking weird as it is. And then here and then trying to keep up with where you guys are at, it's always funny. But usually I can just count on whenever one of the group chats I'm in starts blowing up, with you guys. So always fun.
Now we should say,
Kyle, what's going on with the back of the room's still not done. What are you doing?
It's my room?
Where are your cars?
Yes.
They're all over there
in a box.
They're just they're all hanging. They're just not. You can kind of see it right here.
Oh,
There's one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
they're just not behind me.
So what's going behind you?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
I got some stuff. I just haven't put anything else up yet. So
I've got some spare photos of myself flying around, mate. I can easily send them across.
I think I've seen about enough as you as I want to see in our pre-show.
I don't think those are the kind of photos your other half would appreciate being on the wall. So
I must admit, it did get a little bit raunchy before we came on air, but as I said,
you got a little bit raunchy.
I got a little bit raunchy.
Put this in perspective. So, what I was going to say was, for those who aren't familiar with Kyle, month 8, you can find him on.
I still don't understand the month 8 thing. I don't get it, but anyway.
Something to do with June, I think.
Yes, June. That was it.
So you can find him on his new show on the Dynasty Warzone. It's one of the few shows that doesn't have 10 minutes of ads. And I must say to Randy, when I get a chance, that whenever I listen to the Dynasty Warzone, I just skip, and I probably shouldn't say this to our audience.
What I do.
I skip 10 minutes. Literally, I skip 10 minutes and then the content starts.
It's great content.
It is. It's the 10 minutes of preamble and ads that is driving me bonkers.
It's always a tough balance.
Again.
It's a tough balance. I know with Memphis, they've gotten a better job of like sprinkling it in and such, right. but yeah, man, I don't listen to as many podcasts as I used to, but there are a few, and not on the Warzone network. There are a couple other prominent shows though that, my God, you cannot you can't avoid it, and it's really, really bad when there's that many, and that's distracting. But also too, like, the worst is when they're obviously like put in like post-production and no one's paying attention to where they're putting the ad, because it's like right in the middle of a thought and then it's just thrown in there. And so I would love to say that part of the reason I don't have ads on the SmackDown is just because I'm doing it for the listener, and I'm so enamored with the quality of our show. Part of it's that. The other part of it is I'm just a lazy ass and no one wants to sponsor that show. So I don't have to worry about putting any plugs in.
Yeah, that's the same. Who wants to sponsor two guys from Australia?
Yeah,
and one who's constantly drunk on gin and tea.
There's got to be a gin sponsorship out there for you.
And who's high on opioids at the moment? So,
I mean, what we will say, and we're sticking to this, is that we just do it for the listener.
Yeah, exactly.
But honestly,
really,
well, actually,
mate, I just do it to get away from my family for like an hour.
Years ago, we did have a sponsorship. Gee, you'll remember. We had a sponsorship from one of the daily fantasy sites here in Australia. But then it just didn't sit.
A gambling site.
Yeah, gambling site.
And I'm not a gambler. And I really didn't like all the gambling that was coming on. Like,
no, it didn't.
Radio, TV. It's just like everything. And gamble as much as you want. Spend all your money. Go broke, but do it responsibly. What?
Do they have to? Yeah. Do they have to have that little thing at the end? Like that's how ours is too. Like any ad has to have that helpline at the end. I'm like even like alcohol commercials don't even have to have anything in there. So that should tell you how addictive that can be. But it's a tough balance when you're trying to figure it out. And then sometimes it's like, oh, good, I made $10 this month. Like, who cares? Like I'd rather just do my thing. And mate, you don't get much of a street walker, mate. I can tell you for $10. No, I would assume not, but I'm not thinking worth of that. Well, and then plus I had to split the $10 with Seth. So do we get are we sitting on a 5 each, or are we sharing that 10? I didn't want to deal with that question, so I just left it alone.
Now I've written down.
How long? Talking about sponsorship, how long is it until we get like in the States, in America where cannabis is legal? Do we get a cannabis sponsorship and people start smoking pot? I mean, I'd do it. I'm in.
It's legalized in some states. It's legalized here in Illinois.
Quite a number of states.
Yeah, but they don't need to advertise.
just a good reason to start smoking.
Oh,
pull a pipe and shit on, while you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just some Joe Rogan shit going on here.
Probably get shut down like we did last time where we played too many video. Was it like live?
Oh yeah,
no, it wasn't live clips. It was highlight reels of players.
That's what got you guys shut down. And it was in the middle of the show, right?
Mate, we're rebels, mate. Rebels.
Well, YouTube just killed the stream because we were just live streaming.
Yeah.
And once that happens, I mean, you can't really recover it. Like it took they reinstated the video so you could watch the replay until it cut out. But I mean, it was completely wrecked. It was completely wrecked. So
anarchy!
That's some
very
sort of
frustrating
logic right there.
Very frustrating because you're actually playing. I was playing player highlight clips that are on YouTube.
They're on YouTube. They're already there.
You wonder, well, how am I? But they've got their algorithms. It's not like a YouTube person is watching and like, oh, YouTube clip. They've just got their little machines that are. Yes, they've just got their little AI that's going, and it picks up a clip, and it's like, oh, you're playing content, and so then they strike you. So we got a strike, and the stream was cut. But anyway, we won't do that again.
They don't even give you like a couple of warnings.
No, but well, no, that was a warning. If we do it 3 times,
I'm cutting your
our channel completely.
Oh, okay. That's our first warning. All right.
Oh yeah.
Hey, now with us mucking up with me mucking up the days. Now, when we're trying to arrange this with you, Cole, you have a fantasy draft going on. Tell us a little bit, because I said I wonder what it'd be like if you can come on and do it during the draft, but it's probably a little bit too much for you, for your little brain to sort of try and do two things. Hey, mate, we're not women. We can't multitask. Yes. Mate, I'm talking about all of us.
Yeah.
Our multitask little pea brains.
So what we're doing is, and I've done 2 of these leagues before. I did one last year. That we started up during the heart of quarantine when we had no one else had anything else going on. But we're doing another one this year. It's on Reality Sports Online. So it's a auction. It's an auction league with a salary cap and contracts. So you can adjust the amount of multi-year contracts you have. The salary cap is set to whatever the NFL salary is. And then, but it's a live auction, like you're in an auction room and the players are just like coming off the board.
Okay, so just sorry, AJ. So is everything in the auction based on the NFL? So is it the NFL salary cap and then you draft your players based on keeping everybody within the salary cap?
It's the auction. Yes.
Yeah, it's an auction.
Oh, well, an auction. Yeah. But you got to. Everybody's got your whole roster has to be within the salary cap, the NFL salary cap.
Yeah. So it changes every year to year based off the NFL salary. So like with the league we started last year, I didn't leave myself a lot of room, but every year the cap has kind of increased. So when the next offseason, you do an auction again from whatever players are not still under contract. So so I was kind of banking. I had some bigger contracts in that one league. And I was kind of banking on the salary cap going up. Instead, it went down. So now I don't have any money. And I have like 10 roster spots to fill. So in that other auction, I'm just going to be sitting there waiting for all the big guys to come off the board so that I can finally start using some money. But this one tomorrow night is a startup. So everybody's got $182 million and we got to fill 28 roster spots, man. It's a ton of fun.
Now, so again, that's an RSO one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, I take it's not proxy. So if you say, I'm going to give this guy $3 million 4 years, everyone can see that, and that's what it is.
Yep. Everyone can see. Yeah. All the bids are open. Visible. Like you can see. Yeah. Yep. You can see. So a lot of the fun too is, because we'll usually do we'll jump on a Zoom call or whatever. Cause a lot of those leagues I'm just in with, random people I've met through other leagues. So we'll be on a Zoom call or whatever, and the clock will be going down, and it'll be at 1, and then somebody will bid again, and then it resets to 10 seconds, and then you got to make a call whether you give them more or whatever. So Yeah, man, it's a good time. It definitely adds to the fun because when you're, I mean, I don't know if you guys have played in like contract leagues, that kind of just adds another layer, when you're making trades and stuff too. Because it's not just like, oh, is this guy old or is he young, right? It's what is his money, his salary, and what is his contract worth? Because if you have a guy locked up for a long time in a good contract and he's young, like that's extremely valuable now. And then even if you have an older guy, like I got in another league that I did, I got Mike Evans, on a 2-year contract this year at low end wide receiver 2 prices. So right. I was like, I feel damn good about that, because now I got him saved money. I have him. He's going to carry a little extra value if I got to trade him off. Like if your team's not doing so great, you can leverage that. You can also, obviously the opposite way, try to snag some players off of some teams that aren't doing so great that kind of won out from those contracts. So it just adds another layer to it. But the startup auction takes like 6 or 7 hours. So it's not for the faint of heart. Whenever I'm recruiting for those leagues, it's always like, you have to be there. You have to be on the entire time. And, it's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And you see some crazy ass trades. So like someone might in the startup, they might do something stupid. They might give someone a crazy contract that's ridiculous, right? Mm-hmm. And in retrospect, mid-season, they might be thinking, bloody hell, I really overpaid for this dude, right? Mm-hmm. And then they will try and offload him for rubbish. So you'll see, let's say it's Saquon Barkley for instance, and they're trying to move him. And then you'd look at the trade without the other information like the salary and the years. And it might be like Saquon Barkley on one side, and it might be like, I don't know, Naheem Hines on the other side, some stupid thing, because they're just trying to offload the salary and they can't do it. And in isolation, it looks crazy. Yeah. Like you get all these really crazy trades because people have like either got ridiculous contract. You're right. It's like you can't take the player on face value because it's the player plus what the salary and the years that's attached to them. Or likewise, I've played in some salary cap leagues as well where I've grabbed a guy and I've got him on like league minimum, and he breaks out, and then all of a sudden you've got this absolute gem, because he's costing you nothing, and you've got him for X number of years, and then he's just worth absolute gold. Yep.
And I've seen that like and I've done a few of these, so you get a lot of bullets when you're doing a bunch of leagues. So like in one league in that format too, like they do a rookie draft, and then like the draft picks are slotted. So like if you get a guy in the second round, his contract is extremely cheap. So in back-to-back years, I got AJ Brown on like a dirt cheap 3-year contract, like paying him nothing. And then like last year I got Justin Jefferson in the second round. So I'm paying him like nothing. So in that league, I'm like, I got 2 premier wide receivers and I'm paying them like $3 million total, like compared to, guys that are paying 26, 27 million for like the high end wide receivers right now. But you also see the opposite, right? Like they're in that league. I know the guy is David Johnson for 2 more years. So I gave him a 4-year contract 2 years ago. He's paying him like, top 5 running back money, and he can't get rid of him. He's just like, he can cut him and he eats some dead money. That's how like the site is pretty realistic like that. Like players carry dead money, and if you cut them early, it'll roll into that current year and all that. It can get extremely complicated, but it just adds another layer, and it's a ton of fun. So if you haven't dabbled in it yet, it's an animal. You got to find a good group, but they're a ton of fun.
And I take it that once those guys come out of their rookie contract, you either have to, like basically anyone, or do you get first crack at them, or you can franchise them?
I'm not even worried about it. I can't get a word in here.
you get so if it depends, like the site's set up where you can do if it's a first round pick, you have a 4th-year option. And then
how's PlayStation going, mate? Good. No good.
This guy needs more gin over there.
You guys keep talking. I'll just talk to my son.
He needs more attention.
But yes, you can franchise players too. So you do have that ability as well. So it depends. The site has a lot of cool options where you can do contract extensions. They don't automatically just kick back into the next auction, whenever their contract expires. So, but good.
Okay, G.
Go ahead, G. Go for it.
I forgot what I was going to say. No. I was going to, mate, when you're talking about the auction, that sounds good because it probably keeps people involved. Like we had the Rockolution League, and I heard Memphis talking about it on his show this week. But, mate,
Really?
I have never seen a league so active with select and like trading players, trading picks. We had picks going in the first round that traded swap between 3 people before they were used.
Oh yeah,
mate, it was absolutely mate, absolutely loved it because all my other leagues just we did another one about a week later, and I think in the 6 rounds it was another IDP. I think one trade went down because people just sat there and took their picks, and that was it. Mate, I got Travis Kelce. AJ and I shared a team. AJ took over an orphan team because it had Justin Herbert. You want to have Justin Herbert, that's fine. So I stuck with the crap that was left over, but that's okay. Good defense. But so I put Travis Kelce up. Like, I want to get something. Let's think about the future. Mate, absolutely crickets. Like there must have been someone out. I didn't even get someone come back and say, well, you know, what are you looking at? Absolutely nothing. The only trade I got, I said, I'm open to someone send me something. I've got a guy said, I'll give you Christian McCaffrey for your next 3 firsts. I said, no, dude, I'm not giving you 3 for Christian McCaffrey, mate. And I think he actually put it up later. I'm willing to give Christian McCaffrey away for 3. No one's going to give you 3 firsts for Christian McCaffrey. No one's going to give you 3 firsts for anybody.
Yeah,
I don't think. But that's the difference. The Rockolution League was absolutely out of control. And the best thing about it was when you're in a league like that with guys that are really active and they understand what's going on and they're involved, is that no matter where you were picking in the draft, if you want to move up, move down, move sideways, whatever, there was someone willing to do a trade with you because they want, like, it was great. I wanted to get back into the first round. I had the first overall pick. It was about the only one that no one wanted to trade.
I think if I remember back, I think I looked at it. I think there was only 2 first round picks that never changed hands or whatever. Maybe 2, but I know the 101 never did.
I did try to do it. I think it was someone that you know, Kyle. You were talking to who I can't remember who it was now. Who was it?
It was Jim. It was
Jim. I was trying, and I thought it was a really, really fair. He needed quarterbacks, and I was willing to give up the obviously Trevor Lawrence, the 101 it's a 2 quarterback league. So, and I reckon we were pretty close, but I reckon you talked him out of it, to be honest.
No,
that's okay. That's okay, you prick. But that was the only one. But I wanted to get back into the first round, so I had to give up something, and I did. I gave up a quarterback to get back in the first round because I wanted. Waddle was still there, and I was the next pick, and I knew if I can get this pick, I can get the 2 wide receivers I want, which is Elijah Moore and Jalen Waddle, and I did that. And that was the best thing about this league was you knew that someone was, if you were fair, they were willing to trade.
Yeah.
And I love you, Seth. You're the best.
The funny thing,
so much
too.
Better than Kyle.
Seth's the one who gave you the pick for freaking Daniel Jones.
But he needs quarterbacks. He had nobody.
That kind of set the market because I traded. That was the 113 technically, I guess. I think that he traded you. I traded Sam Darnold to get the 111, right before that, and then I flipped that really quick. The thing that was hilarious was I had another draft that started the day before that one. Yep. All those guys live in America, and it was only a 5. It was a 5-round, just standard, like more standard, dynasty rookie draft. There were no trades made, and we finished after you. Like even with all those trades, the draft still got done. And having half the damn league in Australia, we still got done faster than that other rookie draft. I'm like, guys, we got to speed this up. I'm like, we're getting clobbered, over here. This is like an IDP, like 6 rounds, trades out the freaking ears, and we couldn't even get it done. So much more entertaining when you're seeing those trades, even if you're not as involved. I made a few trades and I didn't even have any picks. So I was moving around trying to see what I could get this year to go
awesome.
for it. And it was awesome.
It was awesome. So we should move on talking about our own leagues. But I was just using the example of when you're in a league where that happens.
Very active.
Oh, it's great. The other one was as boring as shit. It's it makes you think, well, mate, in the end, it's like, okay, I'll give this another 12 months. I'm out.
Well,
I can't do this.
Yeah. I think, and like you said, the best part is that it's the majority of the league is all willing to trade and do things that are fair. Like AJ is really good at this. He did it in the startup too. Like he'll throw out like, hey, I'm looking to move up here, right? Or I'm looking this picks up. And a lot of times when you see that in the chat, and then all it is like 5-6 hours roll off, and then the pick is made, and you're like, how many times are you going to keep throwing this out there and never make the deal, right? But when it's thrown out there, like you guys are legitimately putting it out there in order to make something happen, right? So that's always fun. It doesn't mean you have to, obviously, but like a lot of those times, like you do see something, and it keeps you engaged. Even like when I was kind of like, all right, I have to settle down. I made that trade to get into the first, and I traded for Chase, and then I was like, all right, I got to settle back. But every time I saw somebody put something like out there, like, oh, this is available. Yeah. I'm like, oh man, I want to see, and then as soon as somebody made that move, you're like, oh, what was that trade? And yeah, man, it was a freaking blast. And that was definitely my favorite draft so far. Yeah.
It's not because it's a league that we run. It was just so, if we could put up, we can't do it now because I think it's gone, what happened through the draft. If we could put up, I reckon there's hardly where they have like what happened with the pick. Yeah, a lot on the My Fantasy League. It's got like what happens to the pick. I don't reckon there's an area in that box that doesn't have a trade somewhere or something that happened.
Yeah, I remember I was looking at it, and there were so many. There were definitely much fewer picks that hadn't changed hands at some point.
Yeah, I don't reckon anybody picked in there where they were meant to pick.
I know, and I'm usually like, I have to remind myself not to go pay up for picks because I usually trade them away, and I don't want to like pay extra just so I could get it from somebody on draft day. But I know I traded back it a couple times, and it was. Oh, here we go. There it is.
Look at it to see. No, I just picked that up.
I've got my glasses on just to make. Let me take those off. Okay, I can see better now.
Yeah. So. There are a few picks that weren't moved in that first round, but other than that, man, I mean, it's just like trade.
Yeah, there's a couple, but really, but some of those picks, I don't know if people can see, but some of those picks were traded like 3 times before the pick was actually made.
Yeah.
I don't think that shows it on here, does it? Oh, yeah, it does. A couple of times.
Yeah, it does. You can see. Two.
Yeah, there's a few of them on there.
Yeah, so like the 204, the 204 was traded, what? 4 times or whatever, and then Michael Carter, baby, you got to earn that pick. So, it's just like you said, it's a ton of fun. It's much more entertaining when you're seeing movers and shakers, and you can actually get it done. Because I know I'm not the best trader, but like, man, when you can't find a trade partner in leagues, it's tough, and then it always ends up like being the same 2 teams that just trade. It's like, that gets really old,
Yeah, it doesn't work. But if you put that back up, AJ, if you look at the guy who was picking the 101, mate, he killed the first round.
What are you talking about?
He killed it, mate. He ended up with Trevor Lawrence. Put it back up. Look at this guy, the crew. I don't know who this guy is, mate. This dude knows. He knows.
I think if we look at it, it's the only guy in the league that's not following the rules because he doesn't have his damn name in the league in this team name.
He's got Trevor Lawrence, mate. Actually, that should have been a traded pick, but yeah, Jim, you lost out. But he doesn't.
Well, you should have got
you idiot. But mate, look at him, and then he backs it up. He gets Jalen Waddle at the 113, and he backs it up with Elijah Moore at the 201 because we have the extra pick for the worst. Is it the worst team in the league gets an extra first round pick? Is that right?
Yeah, you must have won the.
That wasn't me. No, I traded. Yeah.
Yeah,
you traded into
Seth won the consolation thing, even though his team was hot garbage somehow. He didn't win a game like all year, and then he wins the playoffs.
I know. And some idiot in our league actually traded him thinking he was going to get the first overall pick, and he didn't get it because some other loser by the name of the Crew. But he was a loser during the year, but he killed this draft. He ended up with the first overall. So the poor bastard, I think it was, what's the name of that team? Dark Side of the Moon, AJ. Yeah, he paid first pick money for the second pick in the draft.
I love how G's like, well, not to talk about our own leagues, but then he's like, I'm gonna talk about my own team.
Okay, now let's go on. Here's a question for you. Go. What did you learn from 2020?
About just life
for the fantasy season, mate.
I don't care about your life.
No, mate. You moved house.
No. Oh, and you
painted the room exactly the same color you had in your other place.
It's different. Check the tape. I got receipts. No. From a fantasy perspective in 2020, man, like I definitely. It was funny because we saw. I think the main thing for me was just that 2020 rookie class was crazy. And like, I just really, I regretted the fact that I didn't have picks in that first round, because in Superflex leagues, especially, but like the entire first round, even in the early second round, were just stacked. I mean, luckily, like, I don't know how many first round picks I even had, but I had for whatever reason, I had a bunch of early seconds. So I ended up with T. Higgins. Like, I lucked into T. Higgins in a bunch of spots, and I wouldn't have got him like this year, right? Because the class just wasn't as deep. So what I think I learned was, at first I was like pissed at myself because I'm like, man, I got to really stop trading these picks. Like, I just trade them so fast as soon as I get them. But then this year, after I didn't listen to myself and I had traded away a bunch of picks, going forward, I'd rather take my shot and try to get a championship. I know that's probably not always the smartest thing to do. But like, if I hold pat and then somebody else makes the move and I lose out to that stings like hell. So, I was slightly more conservative, but still I traded, a lot of rookie picks. And then when we got to this year's draft, I'm like, I don't miss that pick because, yes. Even in the league, we talked about like Elijah Moore going at the end of the first, like I like that, but I still don't think that I just think that 2020 rookie drafts were kind of an anomaly in the fact that like all that was just extremely, extremely deep. The talent level was so deep. Those picks are worth more than the players, so I pretty much just felt like I was going to be, something I changed a little bit, to be a little bit more conservative and look towards the future a little bit more. Cause sometimes I get tunnel vision into just this season in dynasty leagues, but, not on those rookie picks, man. Like the veterans, I've definitely started to value less, but then those rookie picks, I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to get rid of them because I think everybody's stuck on knowing that, I got, J.K. Dobbins at the 110, like shit, he wouldn't have lasted that long this year, right? Just because the talent pool wasn't deep. So
a follow-up
that was my takeaway.
Question, sort of in the same vein, is do you think people overvalue rookie picks? I mean, okay, let's say you're doing, you've just done a startup, right? And now you've got the rookie draft. What do you think of the strategy of selling your rookie picks? Because if your rookie picks are never worth as much as when you're on the clock, for example, right? Sell them at their height for vets that are known quantities. What do you think of that strategy versus actually using the rookie picks on rookies?
I mean, I'm sure you guys probably have access to it or stuff too, but it's like, it's hilarious when you go on these trade calculators, right? And you can put in, I mean, and this is not even me. This is a trade calculator a lot of people use on a well-known site. I'll go in there and I'll put, the 108 and the value is, X, it's 170 points, right? Then I can put in Jalen Waddle.
I went on 2, Jim, and they were fair. They were 50-50.
Just talking to Jim now. I looked at then you plug in Jalen Waddle, who you could get, at the 108, who was on the clock available, best player, I thought. And he's like at 120, he's like 130 points, It's just, so those rookie picks are always overvalued.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like what you can get for them is always going to be more than the player you're actually going to pick in most cases. QBs maybe a little bit different just because they're kind of their own animal, and if you don't have them, man, it's the worst to not have quarterbacks in Superflex leagues. But yeah, man, I usually, you can get the player cheaper once somebody else has clicked the button, let that wear off for a month or two, and you can get that guy cheaper than what you would have had to pay for that pick for you to click that button. So, yeah, man, I definitely, especially in startups, I'm usually trying to get more startup picks. I don't really care about those rookie picks. And I got the whole year to recoup some of those if I really, really want. And, and especially too, if you go that route, then your rookie picks are probably going to be worth less because you're getting guys that are going to contribute right away. So, if you're staring at the 1-0, like not all first picks are created equal. Like, throughout, like the guy wanted 3 first for Christian McCaffrey. If that's 3 late first, then I'm doing that, but if it's 3, like where there's a chance where, 2 of those could be in the top 6, maybe I'm probably not, but, man, it's just, you have to, you have to know what you need. But in a vacuum, I'm usually I'm getting rid of those picks because I can get more for them.
Mate, Kyle started talking at 32:15, and he spoke for just 4 minutes, and I have no idea what he just said.
Well,
I just wasn't paying attention. What did you say?
If you want my rookie picks, they're available. Come get them.
Okay. Hey, so with that being said, my follow-up to that was, what did I learn? It's the same. Every year, and my good mate Chris Ganley, he plays in a couple of leagues. He plays in our Assassins League. He's shaken, not stirred in our Assassins League, Kyle. Every year he goes, mate, why do you doubt your gut? Because every year I go, I should have gone with my gut. Because, okay, you can look at all the analytics and you can look at all that, but there's something inside you that tells you what to do. And I always second guess it. And every year I tell myself, don't second guess your own gut. And that's one thing I learned. That's it, finished, done. I might have been doing this for like 7 or 8 years now, and I've been second guessing my gut, and no more. That's it. My gut is the last. It is like the king of the country. What says goes, and that's what I've learned from 2020.
And I think the other, like the thing I struggle with sometimes, like I have so many, like I play in so many damn leagues. Like you guys are in a ton of leagues. Like it's like, man, do I really need this guy on my 8th team? But last year I did that. I was like, screw it. I don't care if I have 80 shares of DJ Moore. I want it, right? And you definitely have the highs and lows. Because like when DJ Moore sucked, I usually didn't do that great that week, right? But when he was awesome, I'd pick a lot of W's. But I'd rather ride with the guys I really like you said, that I have a gut feeling that's my guy. I'm going to get him. Then like, I'm losing and I'm stuck with, Odell Beckham Jr. Like, I just hate this now, like that type of thing. So I totally get where you're coming from on that aspect.
So, okay. So based on that, what guy in 2021 are you scared of like going and drafting or going? You're not going to go and pick him up because but what guy are you scared of that you're going to be left with? Like you're going to be left holding the bag. Yeah, you're going to be left holding the bag with. Just say, okay. So you're doing it. So say you're doing a draft and you go and grab like everybody's down on Derrick Henry. There's no way in the world that he can do it 3 years in a row. It's just not going to. Well, mate. But there is a guy that you go, man. I'd like to draft, but I don't want to go and draft him based on he's been so good for these, last year or for the last 2 years, and I go and pick him up. And it's finished. So is there a guy like that for you?
I definitely had one, and I can't freaking remember who the hell it was now, and I'm going to remember halfway through this, I'm sure. But I think the guy for me that could be that guy is Alvin Kamara. Like I love him, man. Like he's been fun as hell to own, but he scares the crap out of me that he doesn't have Drew Brees anymore. And I think like if you're talking about redraft leagues, like it's eventually going to get to that point where if you're sitting there at the 6th or 7th pick and he's still there, like, are you really going to take, Zeke over him? Are you going to take, Jonathan Taylor over him? Like, those are tough decisions because you just feel like over the course of time, Kamara has been way, way, way better. But he's a guy that I think I'm just going to try to lay off of, because I think somebody that I'm really high on this year, I think a lot of people will be, is Eckler. It's like, if you're in a PPR league, I think there's a pretty decent chance that Eckler is better than Kamara this year now without Drew Brees, and you get Eckler in round 2. So when I think of the other one, because I know there's one, that guy that jumped out to me, that when you ask this question, I just can't put my damn finger on his name. But Kamara, I think, is the one like that really jumps out as like the super high end guy in that Derrick Henry range that I'm scared I'm going to have more than I want this season.
Yeah, AJ, you got someone?
No, I'll probably do, but I have to think about it. But I was going to say, is there a buying opportunity? Okay, redraft. I know exactly what you're saying, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
In the first round, you don't want to have your first round pick not pan out. Like that's a very high capital investment, a first round pick, and you want it to be successful. And sometimes it's better to be conservative, so you don't take that risk, right? Let someone else take the risk. But in Dynasty, though, is there a buying window for players like Kamara and Henry? I mean, I'd have them on my team at the right price. Why not?
Dude, before we go, who the fuck is number 5?
Kyle Larson.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
NASCAR hat.
I figured it's NASCAR, but you know.
Hey, easy there.
Okay.
It's the thing about the thing that's just so freaking tough. And again, you need to be in a league that with people that are willing to trade and know when the right time to move these guys is. I know I'm in leagues where I'm like, I'm ready. I'm like I'm a top end team. But I want to add a piece. And especially during rookie draft season, I'm like, all right, this is the time. Like, these picks are valuable. If I have them, then I'm trying to move them. And I'll approach an owner in a league where it's like, hey, he has Derrick Henry, but the rest of his team sucks. Or he has Christian McCaffrey and the rest of his team sucks. And I'll approach him with valuable future pieces, knowing that like in 2-3 years, I'm probably losing this deal, but I don't really care because I want the guy now. And that's future Kyle's problem to deal with this lack of assets. But the guy won't move him because like, oh, he's Derrick Henry. He's worth this much. I'm like, he's not really worth that much to you at the moment because you can't do anything with him. So would you rather finish last with Derrick Henry, or would you rather finish last and have these pieces that are going to be usable going forward? So it just depends on what owners are in your league too. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely that split. There's always the comers and goers, and that's what makes Dynasty fun, because you can have people have different agendas. Redraft is a little bit harder from time to time too to make trades because everyone has one goal: win that year, and that's it, right? There is nothing else. So that's why Dynasty just has, it's a lot easier to make trades, and those buying opportunities are definitely there. So
you mentioned future Kyle.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about future Kyle.
That guy is screwed. I'm making all these bad decisions and he's just gonna have to live with it. No, man, I especially in dynasty leagues, man, I'm so bad. Like I said, I will trade that first rounder. Superflex is like, I do try to avoid it a little bit more, but in 1 QB leagues especially, I don't care. I will zip that first out as quick as I can get it. But hey, we got Ben here talking about my great trade in Rockolution.
Oh man, yeah, and
G didn't like it so much, but
Donald goes off. Donald goes off.
I'm not worried about that.
Mate, look, I traded away a bloody quarterback for a wide receiver, and I had Waddle and Chase, 101 and 102, 1A, 1B, basically. I know a lot of people don't see it that way, but they're all on the what do they call him? The Slim Reaper.
Yeah, I guess. I don't. No, thank you.
Yeah, but mate, that's great. You got what you wanted. I think you tried it with Memphis, so Memphis got what he wanted. Mate, everybody's happy.
Everyone's
that's
happy.
What we want, man. We want a league where everybody's happy.
Yeah, and
but
that's the world we live in. Everybody gets a ribbon.
Yes. Now,
everybody gets a trophy. Well done. You're great. You're going to turn out perfect. Don't worry about real life. Don't worry about it.
I'm just going to mute him.
Get him, AJ. There you go. Got him.
There we go. I've got the controls. So listen, is it so bad? I'm just going to try and push the boundaries here a little bit. Kyle, is it so bad to have a player retire, get old on your roster. There's this mentality that you've got to sell him and get something for him. Why? Why can't you have Julio? Why sell Julio cheap?
No.
Just let Julio ride into the sunset on your roster.
I'm gonna answer this for Kyle because I have a league where I've got old guys there, and I'm gonna ride them. And then, mate, when they're done, that's it. They're finished.
Fine.
Done. Gone, mate. But yet they've taken me almost in one league with the Dynasty one league, taken me. I've been at the top except for 1 year, but there's a little bit of like I want someone, so I'll just won't play everybody. But besides that. It's been a good run, and I'm happy to hold on to him.
Yeah.
And because it's all about fucking scoring points. Who gives a shit if he's 32 years old? He's giving you top.
YouTube's on the phone.
Whatever. But, mate, who can? I want to get a younger guy, mate. I want to win, and when he's old, that's it. Done. Finished. Gone. I'll hold on to him as long as I can. Maybe Le'Veon Bell was a bit of a mistake, granted, but
it's the thing is too. You definitely have those guys that are just like, and where a lot of people are like, man, this guy's got 1 year left. That you have that feeling. But I mean, hell, some guys out there that are in leagues, as soon as a guy turns 28, they're like at the receiver position, and they're like, get me out of here. And I'm like, I'll take 3 more years of this guy being highly productive and okay. Like, who cares? No one knows what's going to happen next year, let alone 3 years from now. So I do, I want to make sure I'm not going to overpay for that guy if I'm trying to acquire like a Julio Jones, right? Or, AJ Green a few years ago too, before he hit that cliff. Like you're not going to pay that full price for it. But no, if he's on my roster and I'm a contender, I'm looking to get what I can for him. If I'm not a contender, then I'll trade him off for whatever the highest bid is, and it is what it is.
Yeah. What was that question? Is G? Sorry, Ben just put up a question.
Julio Jones of the podcast world.
Does that mean like that he's going to be aging out here soon, or does that mean that he's just so productive at such a prestigious age? I mean, what do you want the Falcons to do with Julio Jones? Do you want? Because they're dealing with a real life scenario actually, because they're not contending and they have Julio Jones. Do they want the man?
He's gone. There's no doubt.
Look, mate. As far as like real football goes,
yep.
Just move on.
Yeah. Because
real football is not about like we're not all here. Like everybody wants to win, but teams know that they're a couple of years away, so just move on. It'd be great for Julio Jones to finish as a Falcon, but mate, that's not how it happens. That's fairy tales and shit. It doesn't happen. I'm happy if we can go and get. Do we get a first round pick? Mate, if you're giving a first round pick for Julio Jones, I reckon you're overpaying. But if we can get, like someone spoke today about getting a couple of seconds, we can get a couple of seconds for Julio Jones. Right? It's future time, especially for the Falcons. Like, man, their offense is good, but the defense sucks. Come on, let's face it. It sucked for it sucks for as long as I can remember, to be honest. Let's just move on and say thank you, mate. We really appreciate it. You've been absolutely fantastic, mate. And let's just
and G, you would know as well as anyone, being a Falcons fan, that Julio is taking plays off. They don't have him on there every snap. And it's been getting last couple of years. It's been more pronounced.
Mate, I find it really sad as a 52-year-old male that people call 32-year-old guys who are like absolute, mate, so far beyond my athletic ability at 32 that you're old and hacked and you're a washer. It's like,
he's shredded.
He's like, he might as well just put the tar pack, get the shotgun out like a racehorse, and just pop him there on the track and let's done.
Damn.
And I don't understand it. I seriously don't. But you know,
it's tough because he has been such a big part of that franchise. But they have to move him. And if they get anything for him,
the franchise, him and Matt Ryan, and basically been the Atlanta Falcons for so long now.
Next question, G.
Next question. What have we got down here? Who's the guy that you want to get a fair shares of in 2021?
What share?
Fair share. Fair amount of shares in 2021. Damn this, Jim.
Well, I don't know if I'm just sucking up to AJ here, I guess, but like the two guys that we've done a few mock drafts. It's not Herbert, but it is two other Chargers. I think Eckler's price tag right now is perfect. I think he's a freaking monster, and they're gonna work. He's gonna get a ton of receptions like we saw once he came back from injury last year. If the touchdowns, what did he have? 3 last year, I think total. Like if he would have been at 6 touchdowns, he'd be on a lot more people's radar this year but he was just so buried due to the missed time and the lack of touchdowns that I think he's going to be even at his value now. I still think he's undervalued. And then the other guy, and this goes for either redraft dynasty, doesn't matter because he's the magic 28 or 29. Give me all of the Keenan Allen. He's been such a baller, and I've usually tried to knock him for not scoring any touchdowns, which is generally what he's done over the course of his career. Not on the Julio Jones level or anything, but those are two guys that they're going to outproduce the value that you have to pay to get them, whether it be on in redraft in that second, third round range, or what you could pay for him right now in dynasty, especially Allen, because people are trying to look to get out from him for whatever reasons. Like the guy,
is it the beard that makes him look like beards make you look older than you actually are? Is it because he has a beard?
Well, maybe
they look at him. Mate, how old is he? 27, 26, 27?
He's I think he's 28. Yeah.
Oh, 28. Okay, mate. The beard makes you look 48.
Dynasty players are just ageist, right?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Players get to 28. That's it. And I hate the phrase where people say, "Oh, I can." What do they call it? Like they reset. They reset.
Coming from a 52-year-old bloke that's on every joint in his body. I feel
I'm going to reset the clock. They say I'm going to reset the clock, and I'm going to get a player that's going to be on my roster for 10 years. Well, I hate to tell you, 10 years. I mean, the league may not be in existence in 10 years. Kind of ridiculous. I think you should be playing in a 3-year window, realistically. And someone like Keenan Allen would be a wide receiver 1 for the next 3 years.
I reckon 3 years, unless you're in a league that with a group of guys that I'm sure Cole plays in a group of guys that are mates and it's been going for a decade, right? So that's an anomaly, mate. I reckon, seriously, you're playing in 2-year windows.
Yeah.
Like we have a league and 3 guys just went. One guy went out, and the next guy goes boom, 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 and it just starts a domino effect because this. And that's what happens.
And you can see it coming sometimes too, and that's the tough part because when you've been like building those future assets, even if it was like for for 2 years later, it's like, dang, that guy didn't get to use them because we all quit, and that stinks. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like you can't be looking that far out, and even go back and look at ADP from even 2 years ago. I mean, it's tough, and I totally get like looking at youth and everything, but I'd rather have a little bit more of the bird in the hand, type thing. So
could you imagine 4 guys leaving a league after the first year? That's just pathetic.
That was the second year I thought we did that.
Which league was that?
Yeah.
We were in that for 2 years. I thought
that was 2 years.
Yeah.
Was it 2 years?
2 years.
Yeah. 2.
It was at least 2. It was at least.
Well, you won it first, G. And who won it the second?
Wasn't that you?
No, it wasn't me. No. It was the commissioner.
Oh, I was gonna say Seth and I co-ran that team. We did really well, but we couldn't ever finish it off.
Came up against.
Yeah, my record against you two in the championship game is not pristine at all. As
my daughter would say to you.
Give me those Cole Beasley points.
There, yo,
Jamison
don't get
Crowder.
me started, AJ. That was, oh my god, that match, dude.
My
that
wide
was like
call was
that might be my
trash.
best. That might have been my best like season. Like it was definitely up there. Like I was averaging over 300 points in that league. Like people were barely touching 300,
well out in front.
and I was just And then, but you're that championship game, man. My whole offense sucked except for a Kamara, and then my defense was already at a disadvantage up against the points you were putting up. I mean, my God, you had to have like 100 points just from your linebackers.
My defenses win IDP leagues.
Yeah,
they definitely can.
Yeah,
they definitely can.
I've played in a few IDP leagues, and I know you need those linebackers. It's just the problem.
Linebackers rule.
The problem with that, like in that Rock Lucian league that I'm staring down this year, is like even the couple guys I thought were going to be longer term assets, like they're already question marks. And I kind of lucked into a few guys last year that really helped. Like Eric Wilson, on Minnesota, like he was a freaking baller. Now he might not even be a starter in the league. I'm just like, so like that's really tough. I'm hoping he is, but I'm just like, man, it's just when you don't have those linebackers, man, it's really tough. It's I don't know if it's quarterback level of just despair when you don't have any, but it's got to be pretty close. I know I feel like crap if I don't have at least 4 that I know I can start every week in that format.
The thing is, if you do have 4, I reckon there's probably 30-ish 3-down linebackers in the league, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's what you need. You need the 3-down linebackers. Inside linebackers is even better. Guys are just putting up huge tackle numbers. If you've got 3 or 4 of those 30, you've got a positional advantage. Yeah. There's no doubt.
Yeah, and because that's the other thing too. Like I don't have all of those guys. So in that league, I was having the debates because like, okay, my 4th or 5th linebacker who has kind of up or down, or do I play a safety there? Because I had like good safeties in that league. But again, you're having to like I think I had like 4 top 15 safeties. Like they were really solid. But then now I'm making the decision. I'm like, I got to pick the right guy. And I'm like, I'd always pick wrong. Like I would always pick the wrong guy. So yeah, man, the linebackers in IDP leagues are it's crazy. And I played in a bunch of different scoring. There's nothing you can do. Like they're always the best. Like, so yeah, it's crazy.
Next question. What do you guys hate Nickelback?
What? Next question.
Why do I hate Nickelback?
Ben Harl's got a question, G.
This is a better one.
Playoffs or total points?
I like playoffs. It's not the most.
No,
it's random, but I love it. Playoffs.
It is random. For sure.
I like it. I like making the last playoff spot the highest point total that hasn't has an end on record.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, I like and the other thing that I usually do too that I don't know that is most popular or most consistent, I guess, but like usually my tiebreaker in the standings, I just use total points. I don't use head to head.
Oh yeah.
Because like, if for one, it makes my life easier when I'm working out like playoff scenarios because I don't have to figure out like what the prior matches were. So I use total points for standing tiebreakers. And then I try when possible to use the highest total point team that didn't make it on record for the last playoff spot. But I like the playoffs, man. It's random as hell and you hate it when you get burned by it, but it makes it way more exciting. And like last year, like I approached like guys I was in playoff matchups with and made like little side wagers here and there and everything, just to make it fun. But yeah, man, that's usually where I lean.
I have seen leagues where they've got 2 parallel competitions, like they've got a total points and they've got like your standard playoff structure, and that's not bad either.
Yeah,
because then the person who does finish right on top, Premier League style, the end of the season, they get some part of the pot.
Gotcha.
And then you do the playoffs because you're right. The playoffs can be random.
Yeah, I liked how I never really played in a total points league except for I guess the closest one, and we did do playoffs kind of, but like was the was the Assassins League last year.
Oh yeah,
and then that was actually hilarious because it ended up being like there were like what 4 of us that were like all within like a couple games of each other at the very end of the regular season, and then I somehow squeaked into like the 1 seed, and my team was not that great, and ended up just working my way through it there. But you leveraged points. I felt like a lot in the playoffs. I don't remember what the exact format on it was, but it mixed it up. It was interesting. I just remember that.
Yeah, in that one we had, so maybe we started with 7 week 14.
Yeah, I think it was.
Let G find his levels. So I think week 13 or 14. I can't remember when we started the playoffs, and we had 7 teams in. I think we dropped 2 out. The lowest 2 scores. So we're dropping. We're dropping low scores. That's what it was.
Out. It was like an all play playoff format. Yeah.
Until we got to the league final, and that was. I'm pretty sure. I think we had just one.
It was just 2. It was just 2 teams in the finals. Yeah. I'm picking up.
You with us, G?
Yeah.
So what was the answer to the Nickelback question?
That was a negative.
Well, before tonight, I was sitting down the back. I got kicked out of the front room because I was dancing to a little bit of
Nickelback.
No. I was dancing to a little bit of Bee Gees. I had the headphones on, so I'm sort of like moving and grooving. My wife and daughter. Now, what was that? Staying Alive, like live version, fantastic live. So I got kicked down the back of the house. Because my footsteps were too loud. Like I float on air
in the house
when I'm moving. I was thinking, mate, what is with Kyle and that don't like Nickelback? I don't get it. You're okay.
How'd you get from Bee Gees to Nickelback?
No, because they were on when I scrolled through like. On Spotify, they have like live. So I'm going through like they have all different bands that are playing live.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going through like a live selection. Let alone that I found that there's actually a what do they call the a playlist, a masturbation playlist. I didn't know there was a masturbation playlist.
Okay, well, no, it's okay, Mr. YouTube. I've taken him off the stream. Okay, so. You tell me,
Mr. YouTube. That's got to be who runs this damn thing.
He's back now.
There is. There is a masturbation.
Gee,
I got it.
Okay.
So it's funny.
What were we talking about?
So,
Nickelback.
Mate, come on, dude. We're adults. We've all done it.
Yeah, thank you.
Nickelback.
We know that, but I don't need a playlist for it. You know, they can get it done without it.
Mate, I think it's more directed towards the female gender of our species. Oh. So if you come home with any, if she's got a playlist with any of these songs on there, you're pretty much obsolete now.
What were some of the songs, G?
You keep talking, I'll find it.
Okay.
I was just going to say, it was funny you mentioned Nickelback because I play old man beer league softball on once a week, and there's a team that always brings like a speaker, and all they play is Nickelback the entire time.
Wow!
And so they pump up. So it's like OTAs or rookie minicamp with they got music playing live.
Yeah,
but that's awesome.
But it's only Nickelback.
Mate, they're probably Canadians.
Well, there's a guy that I used to play tennis against in Pennant, and whenever you'd play him in warm-ups and everything, yeah, I did.
You played Pennant?
Yeah. You can't imagine it, can you? But
no.
I did. Yeah. I didn't have height to play at the net, but I was mean at the baseline, G. So, baseline to baseline.
Did you wear that? Did you wear the Seah jersey when you were up there?
No, I didn't. No,
down at the line.
In my younger days. So, but there's a guy I used to play against, and in the warm-ups, he'd have his headphones on. It was always "Eye of the Tiger." Every time. Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah, mate.
No.
Yeah.
It did it for him, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think that song could pump you up. I mean, they put it in Rocky, I think. That's a joke.
I don't know if you can see it. Look, it's probably too bright, isn't it?
It is too bright.
Yeah.
It is the Sexy Masturbation Playlist it's by Pop Sugar Love. It's got almost 7,500 followers.
Wow.
Some of the songs on there is "Love Me Harder" by Ariana. Is it Ariana Grande? How do you pronounce the name?
Straight to the
Ariana Grande. Yes.
"Sex
Ariana
with Me" by Rihanna. "Me, Myself, and I" by Beyonce. Well, that's the whole point of masturbation.
I mean, yeah, there you go. That's the only song I guess you need, really.
Oh, mate, the one that has to be on the playlist about masturbation is "I Touch Myself" by the Divinals.
But how do you do it to that song? Because that song is not really conducive to it, I wouldn't think.
Body Party.
What?
Free Titties.
That's a song?
That's a song.
Oh.
That's a song. Free Titties by, I can't even pronounce the name.
How could you not? That's like a big radio hit.
Rocket by Beyonce.
Beyonce features pretty heavily.
A Special Affair, which pretty much it is, because it is an affair. You're hiding it from the rest of your family. You don't want them walking. Let me tell you about my brother. He got caught twice.
Oh no!
Twice.
By who?
Twice.
By who? G.
I think it was both times by my mum.
Oh, nice.
No good.
Oh,
we got a bit off subject, but we're just sort of easing our way into this, the 2021 season here.
Oh, we're easing in, all right.
I'm not sure if these comments were in relation to that, Neil.
I don't remember. But
okay. Let's get back on track. So
back on track.
Okay. Now this is a question for you. Serious question.
Okay.
If you were to take two players at their ADP and swap them, who would they be?
I don't understand the question.
Well, if you haven't, mate, one might be a wide receiver he's 35, and you got a wide receiver at 12.
Oh, an overrated and underrated guy.
Yeah, like who do you see that could be two guys that possibly swap, close to their ADPs, like swap position?
Okay.
And I'm going off the top of my head here, so
it's
hard without preparation, G.
Yeah,
mate. But the whole thing about it was just three guys just talking shit. Like, mate, I've got two mates that I hang out with all the time, Ash and Stu, and mate, we just talk absolute crap. Like, if we won Lotto, what we're going to do with the money?
Yeah.
And let me tell you, our wives have nothing to do with the the 10 million bucks. Just right, let me tell you.
So I would probably go. I'm just looking at like a list of players. There's two that jumped out to me. That like the first one that jumped out to me off the top of my head was Deontay Johnson and Juju Smith-Schuster. Johnson is like hot as hell right now. Everybody like honestly, if you told any of the three is your number one Pittsburgh wide receiver, that's fine with me. Like I think that Johnson saw a lot of targets. Claypool had a phenomenal rookie season, tons of touchdowns, and Juju, didn't reach that 1,000 yards, but found the end zone. And but Juju's still. I think we talked about this on another show. He's only like 6 months older than Deontay Johnson. Yeah. He's been in the league for a long time, so you kind of know who he is. But he's had some good upside. And the thing that I love about him, especially for Dynasty, is his value just keeps going down. And he is the only one of those three that has the opportunity to get out of Pittsburgh next year when Big Ben is done. Right. So like, I just think that, Deontay Johnson right now, if I had him, he's worth more to you by moving him, I think, than actually.
Let me write that down. I've got Ben in one of my trade.
There you go.
Ben Roethlisberger.
I already own Juju in like 100 leagues too, so I don't know if I can acquire him, but that's one, that every time we've done drafts, best ball, mock drafts right now, looking at ADP. Sure. I think Johnson more often than not has been the first wide receiver off the board from the Steelers, and Juju usually goes, second or third. But that was
Juju is a number 2 receiver. I've said this from the very beginning.
That's fine.
He's not a number 1 guy. Like I don't mean in fantasy wise. I mean in real football. Yeah. He needs a number 1 guy. He's not the guy.
And that's fine. I just think that he's like, and he was overrated. Like when he was, people were taking him as the first wide receiver off the board in dynasty leagues. Like it was because he was so young, on top of the fact that he was coming off that big season with AB. So he got overrated, but I think now it's swung too far the other way. People are holding that against him. The other one that jumped out to me, two players, and I think this will even out as we get closer to the start of the season. And this is homerism probably. I think CeeDee Lamb is in redraft leagues is going way too late. I think he's going to be a top 12 wide receiver this year.
Love him, mate.
And the guy that I don't think is going to be top 12 that I keep seeing ranked there. Like I was seeing him ranked at a couple spots. I'm like, as we get closer, I think people will come to their senses. I don't see a scenario where Michael Thomas is a wide receiver one without Drew Brees. Like I mentioned with Kamar earlier.
I agree, dude. Like I struggle with that.
Yeah,
mate, I don't get the tape, mate. I don't get the Taysom Hill talk. I seriously, fuck, how are people talking about Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston? Like one's a quarterback and one's not. Sorry.
Yeah. And the thing with Thomas too, in addition to those quarterback questions, because why Sean Payton thinks he's an evil genius by putting Taysom Hill on the field, but like. There are some positives for Michael Thomas. They didn't add any other weapons really there this offseason. They had opportunities. They didn't as much as I wanted to. I was hoping maybe Terrence Marshall he almost made it there. Like they didn't add any other weapons to that offense, but I just don't. And he's coming off a down year. So I was kind of thinking like, man, I'm going to own a lot of Michael Thomas. Like when 2020 ended, I was like, I'm going to own a lot of Michael Thomas in 2021. Cause I still think even with the QB change, people being down on him from getting burned last year, he'll be in that mid wide receiver 2 range, and I'll take that. But he's going inside the top 12, and there's no way I'm paying that price. There's a lot of guys. I'm taking both Bucs wide receivers over him. I would take both Dallas Cowboys wide receivers over him. I mean, he's closer to the like Woods and Cup range for me than where he's going right now, which is like just after like Jefferson and. He's in that A-Rob territory for me. Just I don't know. I'd rather somebody else.
Based on quarterbacks. He's quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I totally get that without a doubt.
So those are my guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you got anybody?
Well, we were on the Dynasty Warzone pod, and we mentioned. We sort of did something similar to this, but I like the value of Michael Pittman at the moment. He's not nearly ranked highly enough. Who would I swap him with, though? That's a bit trickier. I like the Deontay Johnson call. That's pretty good. I'll have to have a bit of a think about that.
What is it? What's wrong with Chase Claypool?
I don't think anything's wrong. I don't think anything's wrong with him. The only thing. To me, and Claypool's value is much higher for other people than me, I guess. But like it can change at the drop of a hat. But the problem with the Steelers is they're going to contend this year, right? So when Ben hangs it up, they're not going to be sitting there with a top 10 pick. They're going to be in the back. So then they're going to have to make a move to either go get that quarterback or they're going to ride with some bridge guy next year. So it could be 2 years until they get their guy. So I find it tough to invest in those Steelers wide receivers that I know are going to be there. So Claypool's been awesome, but like I probably rank him at least fifth among the sophomore wide receivers. There's just other guys that I think carry a lot more value than him.
And what you said is so fundamental to. You so link the wide receiver with the quarterback, don't you? Because when I'm trading for guys, I look at like, well, who's going to be his quarterback this year, next year, and even maybe in 3 years down? Have I got a stable quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
Like this year, I saw in the rookie guys that are coming out. Geez, I've lost his name now. He got picked up by the Chiefs in the draft. AJ, can you remember who it was?
The tight end?
No. The wide receiver. He got taken.
They picked up a wide receiver.
ADP. Yeah, I think ADP. I mean, undrafted free agent, possibly even. No.
So
we spoke about him not that long ago. I spoke to him actually. I was on with Memphis. I can't remember when we spoke about.
I'll tell you who.
And I like him because the fact that he is with a quarterback that's a stable, mate. Outside of Patrick Mahomes,
forget it.
He's not going to see the field.
He's not going to see the field.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's particularly. I don't know if he's necessarily fantasy relevant, but I think it's Byron Pringle who's probably going to get the snaps. But Demarcus Robinson, he'll get a little bit, but I think it might be Pringle.
Well, Demarcus Robinson this year, mate, is either make or break. Basically, what did they sign him to? Was it a 1-year deal?
Yeah, so and more than that, it's probably CEH. Really.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope it's CEH. I want him to be that third option in the passing game. You mentioned like the quarterback though, like it's tough and it's not going to work every time. Cause you look even this year, right? Were we expecting, Deshaun Watson to be in Houston? I had a lot of Brandon Cooks last year. That looks like that kind of dried up a little quick on me. You look on the flip side, you look at Terry McLaurin, he's somebody that didn't have a QB last year. We didn't expect him to. And now with Fitzpatrick, whatever you think of him for fantasy purposes, like I want a guy that's going to rip it, so like he's, that's a boost. So sometimes this stuff kind of comes out of nowhere on you as far as that quarterback play, Rodgers in Green Bay, that type of stuff. But more often than not, I'll bet on a guy. Like if I have a guy that's going to be paired with Mahomes or Prescott or Herbert, like give me those guys, like I'd rather have 2 years of Keenan Allen knowing he has Herbert than taking the risk on a guy that, could be, out of a quarterback or in a new situation, which we don't know where he's going to land. So,
it would have been pretty much dried up like probably, I'd say, AJ's sort of dating scene back when he was a teenager. Probably that
Dude,
dry.
did you hear he was a tennis person?
Yeah.
Dude, tennis is tough. I played tennis like one time and I was like, this is freaking ridiculous. Like these, they're not running that far, but my God, it's like I thought my ankles were going to blow off. Yeah. But, I mean, I'm not that athletic anyway, but still, I was like, shit, I thought I could do this.
I played tennis. I played A-grade juniors. I played A-grade seniors in the afternoon, and then I played pennant on Sundays. And not once did I ever see AJ. So I don't know where he was playing. I got no idea.
Well, aren't you only allowed in certain clubs now? I heard that you've been getting been blacklisted.
I hold the record for the longest racket throw. The most broken rackets in a 12-month period. Probably the only guy at our club that got banned by the whole organisation for grabbing somebody else by the throat. My tennis. You thought John McEnroe was bad? Like, he was a saint. He was a saint. It got to the point where my dad said, "Mum, I'm not buying you any rackets anymore. I can't afford this. You have to buy your own."
I bet that changes things.
Yeah.
No, it didn't change a thing, mate. Honestly,
really?
It didn't change a thing.
I'm such a cheap ass. I'd be like, I'd find something else to throw, I think.
Okay, so Hutchie's put a suggestion here, which I really like. Michael Thomas at the moment is, I just looked at him in DLF, and I think they have him at wide receiver 12. And man, he's hard to, if you own him, I don't own him anywhere, you can't sell him. Right. And I wouldn't be buying him. And Cortland Sutton as well is pretty underrated, really. It probably really stems from who's under center more than anything. But yeah, cheap-ish, relatively. Cortland Sutton.
I think that was the one ball that never dropped this offseason. My God, Denver, get a damn quarterback. Like I had I picked up Jerry Jeudy in a few spots before the draft, just like because the minute they announced, a quarterback, at pick 9, and then they didn't. They were staring down Justin Fields. They didn't take him. Those guys, I was like, man, they're going to go through the roof. And then they never pulled the trigger. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So now I'm sitting here like, all right, and I think Jeudy will be fine. And you got plenty of, there's still, you never know what's going to happen next year. But I'm like, now I'm kind of waiting another year, he'll still be usable. I think he can still be. Both those guys, I think, can be, flex options, maybe a low end 2, one of them. But man, like if they had landed, one of these rookie guys, you could be staring at, 2 wide receiver 2s, at least. Like so that one stung the most. I think that the Denver not getting a damn quarterback and Atlanta apparently ride or die with Mike Davis. I was like, oh God, like those are the 2 situations. I hope we're going to get better options.
But what? Okay, so Mike Davis.
Can we just go back to Denver for a second?
Yep.
is Denver the situation where the fantasy outcome's a hell of a lot better than real football?
Or the other way around, you mean?
No. Like,
Yeah.
I actually don't think the real football Denver team's going to be that great. But I think, well, if they have say Teddy Bridgewater takes over, okay?
I think he will.
Do you have more faith in Teddy Bridgewater getting fantasy numbers up for Fant, Judy, and those guys and Cortland Sutton than you do with Drew Lock? That's what I mean. As in, like, mate, how many times do we see that the fantasy value and real life value at poles apart?
Yes.
Because
I think it'll get overstated that whether it be Locke or Bridgewater, like I think that negative will be, intensified just because people they wanted somebody else there, they didn't get them, so all these guys are now trash. I don't think that's the case. I think that there's going to be some fantasy value that comes out of that, but I honestly maybe one, where you're going to feel like you could feel confident in starting that guy. You have the other thing to consider from looking at the NFL perspective is that team wants to win on defense. They're got a defensive-minded head coach. They committed, another high-end draft pick to corner. They put a lot of money into that defense side of the ball. Like, bring in Bridgewater fits perfect into that because, just be conservative, don't F it up, and, try to get us to 17 points, and we'll try to win this thing. So, I think that, I think one of those guys can be solid, enough that you can kind of plug in with confidence, but I don't really care which quarterback it is. It's going to be really tough to feel confident about even two of those options, which stinks.
Fantasy, it's probably Fant.
Yeah, it probably is just because he's a tight end. I think the production obviously will lean the other way, as far as head-to-head numbers. But yeah, when you're looking at Fant, he's a talented player at a position that just sucks. So yeah, you gotta. If you can get him late or cheap, then I'll get him because I'd rather play him than, the New England guys or Jarwin or all these other bodies, and take the chance on his upside. But yeah, it's going to be tough. And now that they added the running back too with Williams, I think eventually Williams will be the guy, but man, it's just that offense has a lot of upside, but it's missing the most key component.
So, why do you guys hate Nickelback?
We did that one already.
Oh, did we? We've done that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Answered. Yeah.
That's the.
Oh,
Revealed the drink and went for a pee out the front.
Yeah.
My son was in the toilet, so I had to go and pee out the front.
Yeah.
Okay, here's it. TD celebration. What would it be?
If I had a TD celebration?
Yes, if you had a TD, what would it be?
Oh man, thinking about someone that let me score a touchdown, that would be hilarious.
Okay,
I might just.
Did you catch it or did you run it in?
I probably had to catch it because it probably had to be some trick play where they put I was able to sneak out, and no one realized I was standing in the end zone because there's no way I'm running it in there with eyes on me. I'm
no defensive coordinator is wasting one of their players on you, Kyle.
No,
you just
absolutely
on your own.
No, so I would probably just flip the double bird to everyone and just run off the field. That would be it. I don't know. But yeah, that'd probably be it. It's nice and simple. Just a big, just I'm out of here.
No, I like it. AJ, what would yours be? Let me just say, when Jimmy Graham scored the touchdown and he went straight up the run, mate, has there been a better walk-off in sports? Seriously. You score a touchdown on the last play of the game and you just go, mate, you catch the ball and your momentum takes you up the race you're going to walk up anyway. Yeah. And he just walks off the field and his career's over. Seriously, that is the best way. You cannot ask for a better way to end your career than to do that. That is Mate, it's the ultimate end. And that's it. No one ever sees you again. Boom, boom.
Memorable. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And not poof in the gay version of poof. I mean gay poof as in the magical version.
Oh my god.
YouTube again is
man,
right.
Gonna get a lot of calls this week.
Yeah.
I hate to be your PR guy.
He's cleaned up a big mess.
Yeah.
Cleaned up a big mess.
Next
What do you got?
Julio Jones, where's he going? No, not so much where's he going. Where would you want him to go? Where would you like him to go?
Tennessee.
No, but it's
What's wrong with that? No. Gee, I think that is an exciting landing spot because they need him and they can use him.
Mate, screw needing him. Screw needing him. I don't want to know where they need him. Where's he go to be like, mate, this is fun. Well, I want fun, dude. This is the first show back. Fun.
I think the chalkiest answer is
Andrew, don't be going shooting down my parade, dude. Just piss off.
The chalkiest answer is Green Bay. I mean, if Rodgers is still there, I mean, that would be just unbelievable. And if they wanted to make him happy, that's what they should do because they've added no weapons to that offense in so long. And to have those two guys on the outside would be money. The tough part is like
how would he go playing outside in the cold, mate? He's been inside an indoor stadium for a long time, and he's playing Carolina. Doesn't get cold.
Yeah,
New Orleans indoor stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the other one?
But I think if I had to more the other one, and it's been thrown around because there's obviously connections there, but I love I think it would kill me from a fantasy perspective because I own so much.
Put up Minnesota, mate. If you went to Minnesota, that's screwing with my Irv Smith bloody love, mate.
Irv Smith. I was gonna say San Francisco. Is maybe too logical, beyond fun. But I think that he could ball out there, and that's a team that's a contender. He's familiar with Shanahan.
It's warm.
Yeah, it's warm. There you go. So maybe it's San Fran, but. Yeah, it's tough because it's got to be a contender, right? So, and that eliminates half the NFL clearly, but
half the NFL, mate, probably 9/10 out.
He said he wanted to go to New England. I mean, that's not really a contender.
Why do people say that?
Play with Cam, mate. Cam probably might not even be the starter.
Yeah, I don't think he will be after
They
might give him a few weeks just because they've been praising him for so much of the writings on that wall. But geez, like those are the two teams that jump out.
Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, that's where I would love to see him, but I don't think that'll happen.
Oh,
I don't know what the cap.
Monte Adams on the other side.
Yeah.
Woo.
I mean, what if? He could come to Chicago, I guess.
Mate, it'd be the first time he ever played with actual running back too.
Yes. 49. Ben here is saying the 49ers aren't a contender. I mean, I think they're already better than the Cardinals for sure. I'm not worried about them. Whatever. Rams.
We'll see. This is the Cardinals' offense.
Yeah, I know.
Mate, it's all like this. Like someone put down. I put on a. Cliff Kingsbury came out and said, "Look, that what's his name? The quarterback,
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. Shit. Kyler Murray's like he's got hold of our offense now, mate. So I put up a gif of like Benny Hill, and the end of Benny Hill. I don't. You probably you're too young, Kyle. AJ, no. Like at the end of and everybody's running around everywhere. That's basically how Kyle Murray runs the offense. He's just running around.
Pants around their ankles.
Mate, if you go back 100 years when they cut the chook's head off and it's still run around the yard because the nerves are still – that's Kyler Murray. And that's the offense they have. Like, who the hell knows what's going on? Mate, they got a bunch of midgets running around and they went and drafted another midget. And you got a midget –
YouTube again.
They can't throw over the top of the offensive line.
Yeah. After about 10 strikes, Jim.
I've been thinking about the Julio question actually because my co-host is a Falcons fan too. So we've been talking like off air a bunch. I just don't know. Like, I don't know. It's man.
You gonna have me on one day?
Well, we had you on, and then we got so many complaints about your chair. Had to just take down the episode.
About his chair.
Yeah, I noticed he got it fixed.
Squeaky.
It was squeaking like crazy. I had people sending me WD-40 photos and like, how can I send this to G and all this stuff.
Mate, don't worry about WD, mate. Silicone spray.
There we go. There we go. Leave it to G to know the lubricants, you know.
What's that playlist again?
Yeah. I mean, the places I wouldn't want to see Julio go, Seattle, I don't want him to go there. I mean, please God, don't let that happen. I don't want him to go to Tennessee, even though they definitely need him. I just don't know that I'd be hesitant, to how that would affect AJ Brown. Like that's like the one time I feel like ever that they where they lost weapons and they just haven't added anything. Plus I have a lot of Josh Reynolds, so really hoping that pans out. But yeah, that's a couple teams been rumored that I necessarily don't want him to go to, but there we go. Colts. That would be fun. I think that would be, again, we wouldn't get to see as much Pittman, I think, as we would like, but I think that would, that'd be a great landing spot for him, and we'll just see how Wentz pans out. But
there's no doubt.
I think the other thing I'm looking forward to is the minute he's traded, this Kyle Pitts thing is going to get out of freaking control. Like, yeah. It's fun. He's already literally, he has to be the number one tight end, or you just overpaid for him. Like, it's unbelievable the price tag that you're seeing Pitts go for. I looked at some redraft ADP, and again, it's like still freaking early. He was going in the fourth round, and I'm just like, there's no way I'm taking Kyle Pitts in the fourth round. I don't care if Julio's there or not. Like, it's gonna be nuts. Unfortunately, that's a guy I will never own in fantasy football. It's just
not for the next 12 months.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah.
I have a 4 or 5 year window on tight ends. That's how it works with me. Like Darren Waller. No one watches. No one watches or listens to Australian guys, but mate, I get really fucking jacked off about the amount of people that jump on Darren Waller. No one ever spoke about Darren Waller. Fucking no one. No one spoke about him when he came out, except one person.
Is this? I was gonna say. Does this sound? Is this you?
One person. And AJ can back me up. He can go listen to our pods. One person spoke about Darren Waller, but he was a wide receiver when he came. What's that?
No, it was pretty early. Like, it was in probably our first year, even. And I remember you saying, "Oh, there's this guy, Darren Waller.
Watch out for this guy, Darren Waller." No one, and now everybody. This is what, mate. This is the thing that, mate. The one thing I hate about fantasy football, fantasy analysts, is the fact that how they jump on somebody, right, after the fact. You never hear about the people that they were on, mate. That's just it's like shoved into the basement like some inbred bloody southerner that's our inbred kid that's in the. Don't even talk about the inbred in the basement, right? It does my head in. There's a few people, and there's someone who's like the wide receiver guru that everybody talks about that jumped on Tyler Lockett like 24 months ago. He's going to have a breakout. Mate, I was on Tyler Lockett when he was in college. But
Gee, we won't mention his name. I think you've got the wrong perception.
Yes.
About that.
Mate, a guy that bases his perception on the fact that he's seen him play football for 3 years. Well done.
I do think there's a difference. I do think there's a difference between being like, by evaluating a player and, based off what's happening and like where you value him going forward, where you rank him, and like taking credit like you discovered him. I totally get that. That's annoying as hell. This is his guy. When I think of this guy, I think of this analyst. Like, who gives a flying no? These aren't your assets that you developed and like that you discovered. So like that is annoying to me because those guys aren't doing that stuff. They're just sitting around and they're waiting, which is fine. And you can do that. You can say, hey, I'm kind of planting my flag here, but don't act like you discovered this player, type of thing. And that's honestly, that's what happens. And I think, unfortunately, it's one of the negatives of being so just entrenched in this little world that we're in, right? Like of fantasy football. Like if think back, like if I try to remember what my life was like before I just spent every day thinking about this stuff,
probably
that content,
better,
that content was like that content was like more intriguing, right? Because it was like, but because you felt like you were hearing about something that you didn't know. Now everyone knows everything, so all you're hearing is just recycled trash, and it's just it can just get freaking annoying. And unfortunately, that's why I'm way more choosier about who I even interact with or listen to on shows, because just like I don't need you to tell me the same thing over and over. Like you bring me something or not. So that's just the thing. I wish sometimes I could download all of my knowledge out of my head and listen to this stuff like fresh, like I'm hearing this stuff for the first time, but unfortunately that's just not how this works. So
you've got to realize the audience for some of these guys is people who play your stock standard redraft league, and they're not paying any attention throughout any of the off season. And sort of August, September, that's when they get together with their home league. They'll do a little redraft, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 quarterback, and that's it. And so, Michael Fabiano, NFL Network, is going to say, oh, Austin Eckler's a value. And they'll go, ooh, Austin Eckler. Ooh.
Yeah. You can outgrow that stuff quick.
That's the audience. Yeah, that's right. That's the audience for those kind of guys and that sort of commentary, I think.
Mate, I went up and I went up to all my mistakes. And there is a shitload of them. Because, mate, everybody
I have so much Dante Pettis. It's unbelievable because of you.
Mate, Dante. Who's the other one? Who's the big wide receiver?
Dude, this year, Samaje Perine, it's the year.
It's the year. Mate, I went up to it, mate, because I'm just some guy that sits here and watches film, for a couple of months and go, okay, this is what I think from what I've seen. Mate, if I'm wrong, mate, I'll put my hand up. Yeah. But you get all these pricks that they'll talk about everybody they get right.
Yeah.
And you won't ever hear about the people they get wrong. Mate, it's like they never fucking existed.
Yeah.
I'll put my hand up and get, mate, Dorial Green Beckham. Mate, I love him coming out. And I'll put my hand up and say, mate, I love him. I thought, mate, and I'll go back and listen to us talking with Matt Waldman. Mate, I loved him. He's ended up being a bust. Mate, I'll put my hand up.
I think the thing that I find valuable too is when you do find those few people that look at their mistakes and they use that, they'll let you into that that mind, like, hey, this is what I was thinking, here's where I missed on, like here's what I've learned from that. And you can't, one player isn't going to make that change for you, but like, I like hearing about that stuff more than, when you found a guy that already broke out. Like I don't care about that. It's just but again, AJ is absolutely right. There's so much content out there that's not directed towards us anymore. It's just you outgrow it really, really, really quick.
Yeah, no, mate, exactly. I just the problem is the people that get all mate, because they pay a lot of money by the networks and all that.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Hey,
mate, if somebody came to me off and listen to like the people that no one listens to. I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about like I listen to you, Kyle, on the what are you doing now? What's the name of your show? Fantasy something. Anyway, and listen to Memphis and that, mate. Like you're honest. You admit your mistakes. And that's what you want to listen to.
Yeah. I mean, it's don't get me wrong. If somebody came to me and said, hey, your full-time job can just be up here spewing, kindergarten level fantasy advice for a living, I would do it. I'm not. I
I'm
would
starting
do
to
that,
get angry now, mate. I'm getting angry now.
You got to know. You got to know your audience, and unfortunately, you've even seen these guys that make the jump from the underground sites, right? That are just that only the diehards know about, and then they get the opportunity to move up to like a premier site, and then they have to water down their stuff because they're talking over everyone's head otherwise. Sometimes we forget that I could be the conversation I can have with you guys about just that I wouldn't even think about, like the lingo we can use, what we already know, we can kind of project, right? You talk to an average fantasy football player, they're not going to they're going to be lost, so you unfortunately have to go that route. But I try to at least remember that as I unsubscribe and unfollow some of these guys. I'm like, they're just doing their job, but it doesn't mean I got to follow anymore. And man, I've done a lot of that recently.
So much. You can only listen to it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm kind of sick of pods who are doing let's do a super flex startup 2-round draft or something. It's like, oh, are you kidding me?
And that's what I always try to keep that in mind too, because I think you guys have always done a good job. Not to flatter you too much, but
hey, Andrew, we are the Josh fucking Rogan of fantasy football.
Josh Rogan.
3 hours.
Josh Rogan.
Bullshit.
Josh Rogan's on the phone.
55 minutes. Okay, thanks very much. We're out. No.
I forgot what I was even saying now. Oh, making shows unique. I mean, obviously this is about as unique as you can get, but it's not easy. The easier route is to just do the milk toast crap all the time.
Oh yeah.
So I get it. It's tough. It's tough to find.
One more question, G. Go one more. Then we'll wrap it.
Aaron Rodgers, I reckon he's a good bet. He's going to give you points.
He's just working on his analysis now over here.
Patrick Mahomes. He's
pretty good.
Yeah, I reckon you go and draft him. If you take him in the second round, that's not too bad. Screw that shit. I'm not into that. Fuck.
Okay, G. Another question.
You got to make it count.
Let's wrap it.
Geez, I don't know, mate.
Pick your best one of the remaining.
Okay. Why do you guys hate Nickelback?
I knew that was coming. Hey, there we go. Yeah, everybody wants to know about Nickelback. Jeez. That's what you got?
The Nickelback song.
Okay. Your most overhyped player for 2021?
Apart from Kyle Pitts.
It's gonna be Kyle Pitts, but I would go Cam Akers. I think he's gonna be good, but he is already
Yellow jacket.
He's being drafted.
Yellow jacket.
I think it's gold jacket, green jacket. Who gives a shit?
Mate, we're in Australia, mate. It's freaking yellow. It's not gold.
it's Cam Akers.
Cam Akers. Bling.
Cam Akers. Oh, he's gonna be. I like him fine. He should be valued as a high-end 2. He's going as a 1 right now.
Well, based on his limited production, people are projecting him pretty high.
Yeah, I'd take Dobbins over him, and Dobbins is going we done some mocks. He's going at least a round and a half later. And I know he's not going to catch passes. I don't care. Dobbins is going to get fed, and sharing. It still doesn't matter to me. He is going to be getting so much work in that offense, and so that's just one name. But I take CEH and Dobbins over Akers easily.
I'll give you a good one. Joe Mixon.
Yes, that was my second one. I love that one.
For some reason, everybody is talking him up this offseason, and I know that Gio is out of town. But look, I'm just. What year are we in now for Mixon?
Exactly. Yeah, I saw somebody post. Is this Joe Mixon's year? What is this tweet from 3 years ago? I mean, because that's what we've been talking about with this guy for so long, and maybe he just isn't as good as we want him to be. That's
sadly,
totally fine. He can be a fantasy. He can have production, but my God, and the thing that I think that really is keeping that fire burning is they don't add anyone. It's just him, and he gets so many looks. But I just don't think that offensive line helps him at all. But and again, they still haven't had anybody there either. I'm with you, G.
AJ,
you're right. Mixon.
Anybody on the Cowboys?
No Mixon for me.
Cowboys.
Anyone on the Cowboys?
Yeah, they're all.
Anyone on the Cowboys?
Overrated.
Well, speaking of Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb
They suck. Cowboys
gets
suck.
talked up massively. Here's another player.
I love Jerry, though. I love Jerry. Jerry, if you're listening, mate, more than happy, mate, to send the plane over. Happy to spend a couple of weeks on the boat.
Andrew asked how many names of Aussies in the NFL do you know? No one.
How many kickers?
They're all kickers. Oh no, that's not true, but yeah, most of them are.
Yeah.
Mate, the only guy that went to the 49ers is now in jail for, is it rape?
Yes, he is.
What the hell? I must have missed that one.
What the hell is his name?
Jared Haynes.
Oh,
Yep.
When was that?
Yeah.
Mate, I think he had one good preseason game, was it?
Was it 4 years ago?
He broke off like maybe a 15-yard run. I was like, oh my God, how good's this guy?
Yeah, we've all been there. Oh, God, preseason.
Oh,
Hate it.
can we bring the better half of Kyle on to talk about preseason and how good he was in preseason, but never lived up to it in the regular season?
No, I don't even know what you're talking about now. I mean, every time I hear preseason and overvalue, the guy that always comes to my mind is Amir Abdullah because, yeah, God, I owned him so many places.
Who was that
tattoo? I got the tattoo. Fear of me.
Who was Kyle? You should know who was the receiver at the Cowboys. Who had that preseason? He was like the number one waiver pick that week one.
It was week one of the NFL season.
Three touchdowns.
Was it Kevin Ogletree?
Yes.
No. Yeah.
Yes. Cole's on the money. 3 touchdowns, mate. Everybody went and grabbed him. And
yeah, it was on a primetime game.
Yeah,
it was a primetime game against the Giants on Sunday Night Football. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Kevin Ogletree.
And that was it.
Yeah. Yep. It was, and the funny thing was, you guys. I mean, I'm assuming you guys have seen The League on FX. Obviously, it's been canceled for a few years. But like, I was listening to an interview one time, and that year they recorded ahead of time, right? And it goes bingo. They filmed that ahead of time, but they released it during the NFL season. So like, they had actually written in that he was going to score like 2 touchdowns and be like the hot waiver pickup, and ended up like actually he got 3 touchdowns. But it was kind of funny because they've missed on other players trying to do that, but that one actually hit. So I remember an interview, and they would talk about Kevin Ogletree years later. So yeah, that's the one.
Is that FIFA, G? Is that what it is?
Do you ever jump on there, G? Do you ever show the old man can play video games? Or you don't have to get closer.
You always want a lot for your son, your kids. If he could make money off PlayStation,
there we go. Better view.
I'd be happy.
Where did you go?
There we go. Hey man, you getting these competitive gaming things, you can make some serious cash. There we go. Now talk to the people,
mate. Kids today
chat.
Are making a living off sitting on their ass and using.
Oh God, kids today. All right. Well,
I am a boomer.
That's. Ben wants to know your surprise top.
Profound.
Ben wants to know your surprise top 10 fantasy QB. He's trying to get one in here. What do you got? Come on, G.
Top 10. Someone who's outside the top 10.
Yep.
Martin, who's outside the top 10? Outside the top 10. That's a good question. That is
a good question.
I would say probably. I'm trying to think of his name. I've gone blank because of gin and tonic. Mate, Stafford's a good one. Stafford's really good. But at Philadelphia,
Hurts.
No, we're talking about QBs.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, QBs.
Yeah.
Jalen
QBs, aren't we? Not Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. The
Jalen Hurts.
quarterback of
Oh,
the-
Jalen Hurts.
he's
Sorry,
kind of a quarterback.
Hurts. Yeah, Jalen Hurts. Outside top 10, that could give you, based on what he did in, okay, if you take out one game, based on like the other games that he played, don't base it on his bad game. Yeah, like running. I think he's in the worst game that he had last year, was it like, geez, now you, maybe was it like 70 odd yards, but he's still running 2 touchdowns.
Gee,
Yeah.
can you do a quick impression? Just go, I am so scared. Can you do that?
That was a good movie, though.
Yeah.
Rails here. Mine's Daniel Jones, by the way.
Jalen Hurts.
Ooh.
Jalen Hurts, based on what he did in 2 games, in games he said he was bad, which is still running 75. I think it's 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts. Daniel Jones.
Yep.
I just traded him away. What the fuck are you doing to me, Carl?
I think it could be him just because he runs a good amount. I mean, I think he can get you there. He's gonna get 500 rushing yards this year, maybe more.
Well,
And
that
he had 400 last year and he missed like 4 games.
He trips over his own feet.
That's fine. He had a 60-yard run. That was longer than any Ezekiel Elliott run ever.
Mate, he ran for more than he threw.
The running quarterbacks is the tier break, right?
Yes, that's it.
It is. It's really interesting. Anyway, let's wrap this puppy up.
Yeah, I actually have a work meeting in 8 minutes, so I do have to get my day started.
What are you talking about? We're still 9 minutes, 8.5 minutes under 2 hours.
I know. I feel like, again, with this time change, we are we're up against my day job now, which I actually have been on the clock for 22 minutes, but
oh wow.
yeah.
Okay.
It's all good.
We don't want to get you in trouble.
Oh,
So
I don't get paid by the hour, so it don't matter.
oof.
Now we definitely got to get in this show.
Oh, here we go. All right. So anyway, we have I'll put him back on because he's don't stand up
There we
whatever
go.
you do. Gee, we'll get kicked off YouTube if you stand up. So anyway, Kyle, it was a real pleasure having you on, and I think G is about ready to go.
There it is. Oh God, this guy. We should have known better.
It's been a real pleasure having you on, and it's been a lot of fun. And G is he's well pickled at this stage.
Yeah.
So man, look, mate, Kyle, thanks for coming on. It was late notice, but tonight was just 3 guys sitting around shooting the shit. Basically, that's all it was.
Yeah. No, man, this was a good time. It's been, I can't remember the last time I was on with you guys. It hasn't been like forever, but it's been a little bit. So always good hanging out with you guys. I don't know what G's doing at the moment. He's booting up Spotify. He's booting up Spotify.
Just trying to get their brains up, you know. That's all I'm doing.
Oh,
with the LGBTYC, whatever it is. I lose track of.
Oh man, G's not afraid of getting canceled. He's just like, I'm too far away. I'm too big. You can't cancel me.
There's some letters that we haven't quite insulted yet, G.
Yeah, get on it. What the hell are you doing?
Z, Y, and X.
Hurts the quarterback? No.
Anyway, thanks for joining us. And it has been off the rails, but it's been good fun. And we'll do it again real soon. And as G's been asking me almost daily, yes, I will get onto the team previews and start organizing those, which will be fun. And Kyle, we'll talk to you about Cowboys as well.
Yeah, anytime, man. Hit me up. Always enjoy chatting with you guys and hanging out. Looking forward to at least one more draft with you guys. We gotta get that one figured out. But yeah, man. It's been fun. Appreciate the invite.
We better let you go and go to
You're
work.
a champion, dude. Thanks very much, Kyle.
Thanks so much.
No, seriously, mate. And with the tonic and the opioids that I'm on for the painkillers and all that, truly appreciate you coming on, dude.
Thanks, everybody, and have a good night or good day, depending on where you are. And on behalf of G, Kyle, and myself, have a good one. We'll catch you next time.
Damn.
See you later.